Okay, so in today's video, I want to talk to you a bit about how you can break free from religion and break free from like church politics. Now, I know you're like, what? I thought she just said she's the faith girl. I'm the faith girl. But sometimes religion and church politics and those things can really get in the way of us establishing an intimate and personal relationship with Christ. And so I'm going to tell you how to. Hey, welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button so that you get notified every time I have a new video. They so good, you don't want to miss them. If this is not your first time, hey girl, hey, I'm so glad that you are back. I am your girl, Courage Molina, faith coach, pastor, and everyone's favorite Bible teacher. I help purpose-driven women just like you to build extraordinary faith so they can be who God has called them to be, do what God has called them to do, take possession of everything He said they could have without hesitation or apology. Now, if you have come to get your faith up, baby, you have come to the right place. Oh, let's get into it. What's up? What's up? Hey, what's up? Y'all know in this work that I do, first of all, I feel like you got to ask a lot of questions because people say things like, oh, well, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual, or they say they don't like religion, but I still love God, or I love Jesus, but I don't go to church, like all these things, they don't like the church politics. And I think that's cool, but one of the things, that I often also notice is that they aren't really modeling their life after anything, right? Like, it's like, oh, I don't go to church anymore. Or, oh, I'm not religious. That doesn't really say what you do believe. It just says that you don't go to church, I guess. And maybe that I don't know. I know that you're saying something like against, against like popular opinion, that as it relates to like Christianity, because I'm talking about Christians who say this, right? They're Christian, but they don't go to church, and they're Christian, but they're not religious because they don't like church politics. And so they have their own relationship with God. A lot of times I hear that, but as the conversation continues, what I realize is that they've experienced some type of hurt or some type of disappointment or some type of rejection, or who they feel like they are doesn't fit into how Christianity has been presented to them, or the religion and the rules, or they don't fit into the church culture that they were a part of, or that they grew up with, or the space that even for themselves they deemed as the authority. And here's the thing, a lot of times that will keep us from having an intimate relationship with God, even if we don't see that on the surface. And so what I want to talk to you about right now is how to break free from religion, and the whole thing of like church politics, how to just completely break free from that. The first, it's real short. Model your life after Christ. It's easy. Now, this is not about religion, and it's not about church. I don't care about church politics. I'm modeling my life after Christ. Now, how do I model my life after Christ? Because I know a lot of times the things that we believe to be true about Christ, we've gotten from the church, or a lot of things that we believe to be true about Christ has been filtered through religion and how people think Christ should be. It's always so crazy to me. Now, not before I started spending time in the Word for myself, but once I started spending time in the Word for myself, I'm like, this is so crazy. This is actually like Jesus actually behaves the opposite in a lot of situations than one, I thought he would have, and two, the way the church has told me he would. I'm like, what? So now I realize it's not that I can't church Christ. It's not that I can't trust Christ. It's that I've trusted the church over getting to know Christ. And I'm not coming for the church. Hi, I'm Courage Molina, faith coach, pastor. I pastor a church. So I'm not coming for the church. I'm not saying my church is the only church out there. That's good. I'm not saying it. I'm just saying that when I think about church culture, I grew up and I went to lots of different churches. Okay. I didn't just, So I'm not just talking about one church. I've been to several churches. I'm 40. I've been to several churches in my lifetime. And I can tell you right now that there is this narrative that gets put out about certain things that I cannot find when I study Christ. I'm just saying, for me. How people need to show up, how I need to speak, how I need to behave, what my attitude needs to be, what it means to be nice, what it means to be Christian. A lot of that has just been manipulation. Somebody want me to do something and wanting to use my love and relationship and commitment to Christ to get me to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what a lot of that's been in the past. And so I get that people want to break free from religion and church politics, but if you're a Christian, if you are maintaining your belief in God, your belief in Christ, then I would, before you throw out the whole thing, before you throw the baby out with the bathwater, I would say, drop it in the chat for me, model your life after Christ. Not after your pastor, not after Christians, not after Christian culture or Christian history or the spread of the church. Like, don't model your life after none of that. These folks crazy. Model your life after Christ, which means, like, how do I do that? I need to follow the teachings of Christ. Not the teachings that the church taught me about Christ. Not the teachings of what my mama said, not the teachings of what culture said about Christ. No, I need to follow the actual teachings of Christ, what was taught, not somebody else's interpretation, not somebody telling me because they want me to do something. Oh, you got to give honor to the man of God. Like, child, bye. Let me see what this Bible say about that, right? And so the first thing you want to do if you want to break free from religion and church politics is to model your life after Christ and to follow the teachings of Christ. That's it. How? Go to the source. In the beginning was the Word was with God, the Word was God. In the Gospel according to John, John calls Jesus the Word made flesh. So if I want to model my life, after Christ, then I'm going to get in the Word. I'm going to go to the actual source. I keep looking down. I got my notes down here. I'm going to go to the actual source, the Word. I'm going to pay attention to Jesus. I'm going to pay attention to the context. I'm going to pay attention to the background. I'm going to pay attention to the culture. I'm going to pay attention to when Jesus behaved a certain way and where he was and who he was with and who he was talking to. Jesus did. People are like, oh, he flipped the table over. Jesus not nice. Yeah, he flipped the table over. But when he talked to the woman that was caught in the act of adultery, he showed her grace. When the woman who had the issue of blood touched his hem, she was breaking the law. Just so we are clear, if she had an issue of blood, she was breaking the law. She wasn't supposed to be out there because she was making people unclean. She was supposed to announce herself unclean so people could hear her coming and they could move out the way. And touching him, that is a violation. That's assault, child. She assaulted Jesus by touching his hem, knowing that she was bleeding. You see what I'm saying? But how did Jesus respond to her? So this like, oh, well, Jesus did this and Jesus did that. Okay, cool. But where was he? What was he responding to? When he got frustrated with the people who were on his team, the disciples, sometimes he talked to them a little tight because he was frustrated with them. He didn't talk to the people he was going out to minister to that way. So your pastor talking to you crazy and telling you got to honor the man of God, he's not modeling his life after. Okay, so now I can recognize, no, that's not how Christ talks to the people he was bringing healing to. That's how Christ talked to his team, his leaders. He was like, come on, y'all got to get this work. Come on, y'all need to be paying attention. Are y'all not listening to what I'm telling y'all? Oh, y'all getting on my nerves. Y'all ain't paying attention to what I'm telling y'all. I'm with y'all day in and day out. Y'all ain't learning that. You understand what I'm saying? He had that attitude with them. Look at the attitude he had with the religious leaders. His disciples were not religious leaders. They weren't in charge of the church. They weren't teaching in the temple. The religious, and so what kind of attitude did he have with them? How did he respond to them? If I want to model my life after Christ, I need to pay attention to Christ's life. Christ is the same. God is the same now as he always was But he's not just one way. I think that's what we think, oh, God don't ever change. God is love. God is justice and he's love. Right? He's a blessing and he's discipline. He's a provider, protector, promise keeper, and a lesson teacher. You understand? Like he gonna teach you a lesson too. You understand what I'm saying? So God is the same. Christ is the same, but he ain't one way. So this idea that I got to be the same all the time. No, I need to break free from this religion that says I have to be this way all the time. No, I need to be myself all the time, but I ain't the same way. I'm more than one way. We are multifaceted. We were created in the image of Christ. We were created in the image of God. You want to break free from religion that tells you that you have to behave a certain way or whatever. You want to break free from church politics. Model your life after Christ. Let that be your standard. How do you do that? By getting to the source, by getting in the word for yourself, by paying attention, not just to what he said and how he responded. Who was he with? Where was he? What were the circumstances? What led to this? You know what I'm saying? Why did he have an attitude with them? You got to study all of that. He is no respecter of people say, God ain't no respect. He's no respecter of persons, but he responds according to how people are, to where people, he didn't respond the same to everybody. He's no respecter of persons, but he didn't talk to Peter the way he talked to the Pharisees. You with me? He's no respecter of persons, but he didn't interact with, he didn't interact with the prostitute like he didn't interact with the prostitute like he interacted with the church leadership. You know what I'm saying? He's no respecter of persons, but he responds according to the person and their character and how they act. Like he does. This is what I'm saying to you. Religion is this set of rules with no understanding, without relationship. But if my idea is to become a disciple of Christ, then I need to model my life after him. I need to study how he lived, and I need to study his word. I want to teach you how to interpret the word of God in a way that you can truly listen. It's almost impossible to model your life after something you don't understand. It's hard to model your life after something you don't know how to study. It's hard to model your life after something that you are struggling to interpret. Right. And so, like I've been saying all day today with every single live, every single video I put out today, I'm saying it again. I want to invite you to enroll in Courageous Discipleship. It's a 12-week biblical studies program. And, in that program, we lay down the foundation with Bible 101. How much of what you know about the Bible came to you secondhand from somebody else that you never bothered to vet? That you trusted but never verified. You just took their word for it, right? How often have you been told to study the Bible, to get in the word, to be a hearer and a doer, but you've never been taught how to study the word, right? Where did you learn effective reading? Where did you learn how to study? Studying the Bible is not like necessarily studying other things. Do you have a method? Do you have a strategy? Do you have a method in which you study the word of God consistently, right? If my system is the same, then I can get the word out of my circumstance, my situation, my experience doesn't then bleed into the interpretation. Because sometimes, depending on where I am in life, how I interpret the word today may not be how I interpret the word tomorrow if I don't have a system. But if I have a system that remains the same, then in season, out of season, when I'm up and when I'm down, I can rightly interpret. There are not multiple correct interpretations of the word. Now, there are multiple ways to apply the interpretation. But what we read and study in the word were actual conversations and actual events. They meant what people meant them to me at the time that it was said, under the culture under which it was delivered. So I can't give it a new interpretation. The Bible cannot mean today what it was never meant to mean, what it didn't mean back then. The Bible cannot mean today what it never meant back then, because the Bible also doesn't change. The Bible isn't changing with the times. Right? So those lessons remain the same. That wisdom remains the same. That those principles remain the same. What it looks like to apply those principles in 2021 versus 21 BC, different, no question. right? So application, definitely. Interpretation, one right interpretation. That's it. I don't know how we could get to other things. And how do we get to rightly interpreting? We have to have a system that pulls out as much as possible our experience, our personal experience, our personal beliefs, our opinions, what somebody else said, the season we're in, the situation we're in, the circumstance that we're in, the desires of our heart, the pain that we're dealing with. We have to be able to pull all of that out when we get into the word so we can rightly interpret it and then allow it to speak, allow the proper and correct interpret. The word says you got to learn how to rightly divide. That means people are out here rightly dividing the word. It also implies that there's a wrong way, right? To, to divide the word, right? We also can see that. And so in Courageous Discipleship 1, that first month, those first 4 weeks are all on Bible, about the Bible before you learn from the Bible, how to read effectively, like actual effective reading strategies, step by step, things that you'll start doing as you prepare to study a word from God. Actual deep dive, digging a foundation before you build the house. The bold method, the SALT method, that's building the house. This deep dive that you are taught in Courageous Discipleship, that's digging deep to pour a foundation for you to build your house on. It's making sure that your foundation is rock and not sand, because we both know that it is possible for you to build your house on sand with high quality materials, and you won't know that it's sand until the storm comes. People won't be able to tell it's sand until the storm comes. It's why people break away from the church, because of church hurt. It's why people question their faith, because of what people have done. Because my faith was built on sand, because God is the same. So if my faith was in God, then my faith is not shook. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not falling away from the faith because I've experienced things in life. And so in Courageous Discipleship 1, over those 12 weeks, you'll learn that. And then you spend those last 8 weeks, those first 4 weeks pulling up and building this foundation. Those last 8 weeks will give you an opportunity, one, to learn the wisdom from these stories that you've heard 1,000 times, wisdom that I promise you, there's going to be something new that you haven't heard because of the way that you will be taught to study, because of the way I myself study. Right? It's going to completely change your life. And so if you are ready for a life change and you want to forever be free from religion and church politics, you want to live like who the sun sets free is truly free indeed. You want to live in the freedom. You see other people out here living free, like, oh, I wish I could live like that. Get into this word with me, Courageous Discipleship. Go to CourageMolinaUniversity.com. Right now, there's an extended payment plan, which allows you to pay for this 12-week course over 12 months. That's the Lord meeting you, right? Have faith and step out and sign up and do what you need to do. I mean, just imagine if it was something else that you needed. You would figure it out. Well, if this is what you need, figure it out. God's the same. He's a provider, period. I'm not saying this ain't what you need, sign up. I'm saying if you know that this is what you need, sign up, make it work. Talk to the Lord. Be like, okay, I know I need this. I've been feeling this pull. I'm gonna sign up, and me and you, Lord, we got to make this work. Just like you've think about a time where you didn't think you could make it work in the past. Listen, I quit my job in 2017, and in 2018, 2019, I was like, we probably gonna lose this house. There were times in 2020 during the pandemic when my husband was out of work. I was like, we probably gonna lose this house. They probably gonna pick our car up. I couldn't see a way. But when I tell you that God showed up in a mighty way, baby, and just turned things absolutely around. Continue to trust him. There's certainly been times in my life when I'm like, I don't know how we're going to move. I don't know how we're going to do it. And the Lord just made a way, because that's how he is. But you have to be committed to it. So if you feel like this is what God is leading you to, don't hesitate. Just sign up today. Doors close Sunday at 11:59 p.m. Don't wait until the last minute to do it. We all know that procrastination is sin. And there's somebody right now, you are watching this right now, whether you're watching it live or you're watching the replay or whatever. Somebody's watching this. You know that God has called you to do it, and making the payment to get into it ain't nothing to you. So procrastination happens when we know what we're supposed to do. We have the resources, the tools, and the know-how to get it done, and we put it off. Don't put it off another minute. Sign up right now. All right? Until next time, I don't know how many videos this has been. Like, I haven't kept count. I think this is like number 6, maybe. This might be 7. Y'all know I'm doing 25. Because that's the work that the Lord has called me to do. I'm gonna do 25, and And all the people that God has called and that are ready to take this leap of faith will be enrolled in the program by Sunday. That's it. I'm going to believe God for it. I hope that you have been encouraged, that you've been blessed by this video. If you have, go ahead and hit the share, like, subscribe, leave a comment. What was your greatest takeaway from this? Your biggest aha? Be sure to leave a comment. And don't just log off. Follow me over to the A&O channel where we are about to hear some more good stuff. This is just another day in TGIW. I hope that you loved it. See you on the other channel.